It's that time again. If you're a real estate agent and you're looking to finally build a business that creates consistent cash flow, but you're concerned about all of the market disruptions, relax. You found your safe haven to learn the secret to success. List, you last. Welcome to this week's podcast. Hey, welcome fellow listing agents. Bob Mangold, the listing coach here with this week's episode of the If You List, You Last podcast. Now, on this podcast, we're doing a panel discussion with my business partners on why agents are told in the early stages of their career to avoid listings, but most importantly, what they need to do to focus on to change that. Now, in my humble opinion, but backed up by facts and data, listing agents make the most money in our industry, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, just a quick reminder, make sure you join our Real Estate Asset Advisor Facebook group so you can join in on the conversation, share your thoughts, comments, or questions on any of the topics I discuss right here on the podcast. And as always, you can always connect with me at www.bobmangold.com. Go through the website, schedule a call with me. It's available for you online. So grab a cup of coffee and settle in, and let's get to it.
I love what we were talking about in the meeting today, getting agents listings. And why is that? Why should that be the cornerstone of your real estate business? That's where the money's at. We talked about it earlier. There's that lie in real estate. And it's one of those, like, we all had it when we first got into it. And I don't remember where this lie got told to us, but it's easier to deal with buyers than it is to deal with sellers. And that is such baloney. It is total baloney. Bob said it earlier. He's like, what are you going to do Saturday night when if you're operating a listing, you could forward that offer over to your seller, or you could stop, drop, and roll, get in your car, go out, get a lockbox, unlock the house, run around the house, just from a logistics standpoint. Yeah, but that's the lie. That's the lie, is buyers are easier than listings.
So my answer to every problem out there that exists, right, real estate or otherwise, is very simple to me. Follow the money. So when we go, why do we preach this whole thing about buyers and working with buyers? And you have to do that first before you become a listing agent. Think about it. If you didn't work with buyers, you wouldn't have teams. If you didn't have teams, you wouldn't be buying Zillow leads and all the other crazy lead programs that are out there, right? And then the truly exceptional agents that have built market share and are very successful at what they do, they'd have competition for listings now. Why does the listing agent want to treat you?
It's like this thing we've been programmed. You've been programmed. What's the deal with that?
Why would I want to train you and become my competition in the marketplace? You're taking money away from me. So the answer to everything is always follow the money. But the reality of it is, to me, it's just a math question now, right? How many transactions? Let's take 40 hours. I can work with one buyer. Let's say it takes 40 hours beginning to end to close. I get paid once. How many listings can I work with in the same 40 hours? And the answer is somewhere between 4 to 5. 4 times a paycheck is better than 1 time a paycheck. But if you doubt the math, just ask yourself, anybody who's listening to this, in your existing company and all your past companies, who are the number one earning agents? Buyer's agents or listing agents? The answer is never the answer is never the buyer's agents. Why don't we teach that as an industry?
Somebody said listings have babies. Have y'all ever heard that?
Yeah, exactly. One listing will get you at least 2 buyers, which you can handle yourself or refer to somebody else and still make money.
So that's why I teach. We call it 5 from 1. How do we get 5 transactions from 1 listing? Now, is 5 aggressive? It is. Would you rather say, well, get 2 from each listing instead of 5? What if you screw up and you get 3 or 4? So why not think big? But if you think about it from the different arenas that you can get business from, right? The open house traffic, the circle prospecting, the door knocking, those kinds of things. And then even afterwards that you market to that. Now you go back and circle prospect. Hey, you know what? I actually had 4 people that were interested in buying this neighborhood. Obviously, we could only sell the 1 house. Have you considered selling? Right. So even if it was 3 months later, 90 days after you closed the listing, that you were still working that area and that the leads from that open house, if you can get 5 transactions from every listing, whether it's 5 listings, 5 buyers, 3 and 2, 2 and 3, doesn't matter, does it? You take the listings, give the buyers the buyer's agents, the buyers take a referral fee from it. That's the setup of every team on the planet, isn't it?
I think it's a limiting belief.
Yes, I agree. That's where I was going to go too, Jake. It's what is the fear around getting listed?
If the house doesn't sell, then the seller's not going to like me, which means I didn't price it. I didn't market it. There's the old adage, and Haley, I come out of this world. We used to be taught that whole fear of speaking from stage is because we want people to like us. We want to be right and we want to be liked at the end of the day. So the fear around taking that listing is if I don't sell it, the seller's not going to like it. Versus there are more, we believe it. Like it's not true, we believe it. There's more opportunities for me to go out and show the buyer more properties and they get to choose which house they want. It's not my fault. Like it's cheating, but I think it's a limiting belief. That's where I would go with it.
I would go as far as to say that like brokerages can to allow them to think that they don't have the ability yet to get a listing.
Yeah, when I first got licensed, I was told it would be at least 3 years.
Yep.
Or they would want me to work with a listing.
Same.
That's
Figure out the math and follow the money. That's because I'm paying you a 30% override to take your leads from it. And so, of course, you want me doing that. I'm running around the buyers paying you 30% because you generated the lead. It didn't take me long to figure that out. I can do this.
Yeah. I got
Eventually, that's why it happens.
There shouldn't be fear in selling it. I don't want to be unliked. And so I'm fearful with the help and the support that LGI, we bring to the team and what the team brings, that help. It's never going to be that way. You're going to sell the house. So now what are you afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of.
Well, balance. I think it's important is people are afraid because they don't know what to say. Right. And if you doubt that, just go into almost any real estate Facebook group and you'll see somebody who's punched in. Does anybody have a good listing presentation they could share? And you'll literally see hundreds of comments following. Yeah, why don't you go out and create your own? And people don't because they don't really know necessarily what to say. Most of them just struggle with how am I different? Either Canva in their listing presentations, for goodness sakes, but they're the same as everybody else. So now I believe when they go into the house, they're afraid to say these things because they know it's just like everybody else. And then they go, what about that Haley gal? She sells 300 homes a year. Why should I list with you instead of Haley? And they go, ooh, that's going to be a good question. Because they haven't thought that out. And we haven't, as an industry, we don't train people that way.
Bob, do you think that there's also a number of, and I don't know the answer to this, I've never researched it, or maybe I should research this, but how many agents have gone on 1 or 2 listing appointments and gotten rejected and they quit?
So I would guess the majority. You're right. I'd never seen a study on that, but that'd be a good one. But I'm going to guess it's the majority. Because what do we do as humans? We avoid pain. You do that twice, and you go, okay, I'm not doing that one.
That hurt.
It hurt.
Whereas that's the only way you get better, right? Is you got to go have some defeats and some losses. You get better but if you're with a great team, then you should be armed and dangerous when you walk into that presentation. And if you're not given that confidence in those skill sets in that marketing presentation, and yes, you should create your own, but you should have some backbone within your team and your brokerage that gives you some leverage. If there's some decent marketing things that you can point to within your brokerage, within your team, that, hey, this is who I'm associated with. Much bigger than me, right? Is this what we do and what our team does and what my team is going to do for you? And I think if they're armed that way, then they have a much better chance of winning. And then they're not going to have that fear of loss as much.
And ultimately, that is the key, is to be around somebody who's willing to teach you, right? So think about it. When I first joined, I won't even say what company, they got a big red logo. And it was all about stay away from these big hitters. Like, don't even talk to that. They won't even talk to you. They were the ones that carried all the listings. Those were the ones I wanted to talk to. So part of it is being around a group of people that are going to do that. And the second thing that I would tell you is you need to make listings about the process, not the person. Because the minute it's about the person, Haley may sell 300, Jake may sell 500 homes. And that conversation just goes to, yeah, but I interviewed these people and they sold 300 and 500 homes. Why you instead of them? You have to have an answer for that. And so when you can take it away from the process, here's a dirty little secret. I see so many agents, they have listing presentations and they get pictures of them and their family and the kids and the dog and the whatever. And at the end of the day, folks, people selling their house do not care about that. They only want three things in my experience: highest price, most amount of money, fast, and eliminate my hassles and headaches. And if you can do that and you can demonstrate that your process does those things, you're going to win way more than you're going to lose. So that they're no longer asking you how long you've been doing this or how many homes you sold. If your process is so solid that you've covered all the bases, they don't ask that.
There's two things I want to go back to here that we all of this is true, 100%. And there's two things I want to go back to. One is, we glazed by it and I made a face. I want to be different as a real estate professional, or it doesn't matter. I don't care what your industry is. That inspiration for individuality is what I'm going to call it in this. I'm going to go hard on this. So what sets me apart as a real estate professional? And people always go to marketing on this, and they're, to Bob's point, I got a picture of my family and my dogs and the house and the lifestyle, and all that's great. And we know what still super rock stars apart from the others. It's practice. It's knowing what to say. It's that practice. It's the script practice, and it's surrounding yourself with those people that are going to lift you up and that are going to get you in the right place. So it's in that desperation to set yourself apart as an agent, you're actually lumping yourself right in with that bottom 20%, because they're all trying to set themselves apart. And you guys are so busy trying to set yourselves apart, you're not doing the basic activities that you get you the business.
Let's talk about that. What are the basic activities? Maybe somebody's watching this, an agent, and maybe all they've ever done is work buyers because they were programmed. And oh, okay, I want to be a listing agent. What should I do? Haley, you've worked with hundreds of great listing agents in your career. What sets them apart? What do they do differently?
They go in with the confidence knowing that they are there to sell the house and not just list the house. And a lot of agents go in thinking, I'm going to get a listing, and they're going to take it for whatever. And even if it sits on there for 60 days, they're like, I have a listing. They're even realizing how bad that looks on both ends for the seller and or the buyers. But I think it's again, being programmed either by a traditional team saying, I am the rainmaker, so therefore I get the listings, you are the buyer's agent. It's going in with some form of confidence, and that's taught.
And I think to Haley's point, here's one of the biggest things that I find with agents, and this absolutely drives me nuts. It's been like this for 30 years. Always have hated it. You take any listing at any price and you work on coming down. That to me is the absolute dumbest thing that I've ever heard. And here's why. So we do some research. We want to target specific areas because they have high turnover, right? We want to build market share in those areas. So here's how it works. People drive by your sign for next 6 months, see that the house didn't sell. People take and go and get a different listing agent, lower the price to what I told them in the first place. Now Jake's got his sign up. 2 weeks later, he's got a under contract. Am I ever going to build market share in a neighborhood doing that? I would rather say no to the listing, because what Haley said in there is a slogan, guys. I actually don't list houses, I sell them. And if all you want is somebody to list it, then I could recommend 5 or 10 other agents to you. But if you want somebody to sell it, we could talk about that. Because I'm not putting my sign out there at whatever crazy price you want, just so I can say I have a listing for the people in the neighborhood get to drive by for 6 months and go, boy, what a putz, he can't sell that house. And here comes the next agent that lists it at the price that it should have been, and suddenly they're the hero. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Zero.
But that's what we teach in the business.
And we are teaching our agents this, but agents are not being taught this in other areas, is it's wasting the seller's money. It's wasting your money. If you're going to go in and you're going to spend all this time and money on photographs and all of these things to just list this house, you're not going to get a return on that. And your sellers aren't going to get their money, or you haven't gone in and already done a price change with a standard set for that. If we don't have this many showings in the first 2 weeks, we are automatically reducing this on this date to this price, and then it will get sold.
So let's go back to where Scott was going with daily activities of what are they? Haley started out with, they go in with a confidence, and it's a mindset and it's a language shift. So the first thing you want to do, if you're labeling yourself as a buyer's agent, that in of itself is already a troublemaker. Because you're in the mindset, I'm a buyer's agent. So all of a sudden you go out and you talk to a seller, you're limiting yourself. You're a real estate professional. That's your title. You're a real estate professional. So when you're going out there, you have to change the language. Now, I have a big heart for open houses. I know Bob's got a big heart for open houses. So I'm going to use that as the example of what that looks like. You don't go to an open house and sit in an open house and hope for buyers. Like, you don't. And people are like, but that's exactly what I did last Saturday. There was a time I used to do that because I hadn't been taught better. I hadn't been told different. We go to open houses to generate listings. That's the point. The point of an open house is to generate more listings. Buyers are byproducts. Like, think fishing. Buyers are bycatch. You can cast your net out there all you want to, and buyers are bycatch. I'm going fishing for listings. So if I'm going to have a listing in a neighborhood, I'm going to go door knock 20 around it, five left, 10 across. 20 doors, and I'm going to say, hey, we got a ton of buyers for this house. We've only got the one listing. Who do you know in the neighborhood that wants to sell this? Tons of people want to move in. Then you ask the questions about the listings. But daily activities is, we can use the dirty 4-letter word, which is lead generation, that everybody goes, I don't want to do lead generation. If you're not doing that, you don't have a real estate. That's a thing you have to do. I have fought against it. I'll own that all day. And yet it's a thing you got to do. You've got to go out and do it. And whatever that is, if it's phone calls to your database, if it's sitting at Starbucks with a sign that says, I'm a realtor, ask me a question, if it is door knocking, if it is networking, if it is and on, you're trying to create people. You want to have real estate conversations every day, and you have to ask for the business. From a daily activities, the thing that makes you different from the other people is that you show up and treat it like a job. You just have to. That's part of what it is. If you get into this, and we've all been we're going to use the old word, we've all been recruiters. And I got another space I want to apologize to the universe for. We've all been recruiters at one point. In that space, it's all about us as a recruiter. Like, it's about me. You need to come with me. I used to tell people when they came in, I had a redundance because you got the two normal questions. One was, how long will it be before I get a check? Always a question we got asked with new agents. How long would it be? What's the standard answer? We all know it. We know it off the top. Yep, it's 90 days. Somehow the industry told us it's 90 days from now. That is crap. It's absolute crap. But what we did is we threw a label on them. Said, you won't get a paycheck for 90 days. So guess what they did? They didn't go out and work for the next 60 to 70 days, knowing they wouldn't get a paycheck. So I will own that. And everybody I ever told that to, I am sorry. I will say it publicly, because the reality is, in this particular business, how long before you get a paycheck? I could get a paycheck tomorrow. I can pull a cash buyer. I can pull a cash seller. I can do a wholesale deal. We can get stuff closed overnight. There's great ways with which to do it. Understand that real estate has the ability to create revenue fast as you want it to do it.
Mm-hmm. I changed that conversation to real estate can change your life in 90 days. It's your activity.
Not just supplement a paycheck.
Yes. Yeah. It's not waiting on a paycheck. It can literally change your life in 90 days if you jump into it and you do everything that you're told to do.
And here's the thing, folks, is we've talked about buyers because just the way Jade said it, because he's right. He just say, hey, I need more leads. I need more leads. I need more leads.
we associate leads with buyers. The words we use matter actually, right? So stop saying I need more leads. Say I need more listings. Dar, I can show you where to go get some of those today. So it's a question I ask, especially when I do live things, is, hey, how many of you guys find listings where people are raising their hands saying, come list me right now? And for me, they're called FISBOs and expires. They're everywhere.
So the trainings around that, Bob, but you and I have gotten pretty close to Brigo. Brent's one of my favorite people because he's just so raw. And you got to get desperate. If you're desperate, and I used to do trainings where I would travel and I'd say, okay, how many of you see that you can get a listing before the end of the week? And raise your hand. And there might be a few. If there was 40 people in the room, there would be 2 or 3 hands go up. And I say, okay, this is the market you live in. Get 2 or 3. I guarantee you, you can drop me out of an umbrella around a parachute. And it's an umbrella, I'd probably crash and die. So that wouldn't work.
But it's full on the light side. You can promise, Scott, that's not a
parachute. Drop me out of any city in the United States. And you said, Scott, you got to have a listing in that city by Friday. I know I could do it. No piece of cake, because I've been desperate before and I know how to do it. And I guarantee you, anyone else, if you have kids and I said, someone is going to take your kids this week and you're never going to see them again unless you have a listing by Friday. How many of you would have a listing by Friday? And in the room goes up.
Right. You say every hand, not all of them. Some of them are like, maybe you might catch people. We're going to use the vacation.
They don't have kids. They haven't go because they don't always like their kids. Or they hate their kids. Yeah.
Hey guys, can you say the same thing about a buyer? Can I find a buyer ready, willing, and able by Friday? Which is easier, find the listing or find a buyer?
Listing
every time.
All day.
Because honestly, Scott and I'd use the same analogy. Drop me out of a thing. I don't even say wait till Friday. I'll have one by that afternoon.
And go back to, and everybody remembers this time, right? Everybody remembers paycheck to paycheck. Everybody remembers paycheck to paycheck. And yet something would break, something would bust, something would go wrong, and you needed $200 tomorrow. $200 tomorrow in order to get the thing repaired, whatever. I got a flat, I need new tires, I need new whatever. And there is literally $1.50 left in your checking account. But you'd get it done. You would find a way to get it done. I've heard another speaker talk about you need to go be a drug addict. Like you need to get to the point of being a drug addict. It's a little on the extreme side, but think about the same concept. They're in a space of desperate. They will find a way every time to get it, every single time. And Scott's right. That's where so many real estate professionals fall short. They've got a spouse with a huge, big, fat income, or they had some sort of other revenue stream that you don't have to do the thing. But if you get to the desperate space in that, man, you can absolutely make some massive impact in this space.
Yeah. Then you have to live in that. Right. You have to turn that brain on. I desperately have to have, and I'm looking at my vision board right now with a picture of my helicopter that I desperately have to have, and I'm going to get that helicopter, right? So I'm desperate for that helicopter. Do I need an helicopter? No, but I'm desperate to have it, right? And so now I am motivated beyond what I normally would be because I created that vision, that desperation. And I think that's something we have to learn. Let's face it, we're programmed to have a job and a paycheck. Right? We show up and we get paid. And I know Bob's wheels are turning on that one because we talk about this all the time. It's like, how do you get agents to get desperate? Like today, on something, do the money-making activity now, today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. You've got 3 hours. Go get a listing.
Because here's the issue. Real estate's actually a really simple business. You don't hear that very often. I didn't say it was easy, but I did say it was simple. So drop me out of an airplane, right, with a parachute preferably, and that day I'll have a listing. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go to FISBO's, cancels, expires. I'm going to find one. And then I'm going to actually have a prepared presentation because I'll have a process, right? I mean, I did a class for my other group, my coaching students this afternoon or this morning, whatever it was. And we talked about working with investors and flippers. You guys want to set up a great business? Write this down. This is how simple this is. Go find 10 flippers who do 5 houses a year and start working with them. There's your 50 transactions a year.
Yep.
Problem, you don't understand. No, I understand. What you're thinking is, yeah, but I don't have anything of value to offer them. Guess what? We do. We teach our agents what that value is. So if I said, hey, Haley, if I could help you flip 3 to 4 more homes this year, provide you access to cash so that you could accumulate them a little quicker, and we could sell them faster for more money, would you want to have coffee?
Yes.
100 flippers in your area, you go, okay, Bob, I don't know 100 flippers. Okay, they have these things called title companies in most places. They'll get you a list. I could point you to 10 different resources to go get a list and go and start meeting with them. And guess what? If you have a process that you could deliver that, because we can, you'll get flippers working with you. And so I just have one of the largest independent flippers that I've ever met was on my class today. And I asked her, how many flippers traditionally hire an agent to sell their listings? Use for Clint.
All of them.
They're using agents. They're just not using you. And the reason they're not using you is because you don't have anything valuable to offer. So if you're listening to this, here's what I'm going to tell you you need to figure out in business. All business. I don't even care what business you're in. Figure out what value you bring to the relationship. Why should they work with you and only you? On the realtors, you're just a commodity. And what we do at LGI is we decommoditize real estate agents.
Good word.
What part? Right? We're all the same. Everybody goes, hey, they're all the same. There's 1.5 million of them. Because the truth is, we pretty much are all the same. What is it that makes you different? If I can help,
work.
instead of flip 5 houses a year, I can help you flip 7. You get more money with them. I can get you access to capital. I got you out of the process. We got it done really quick. I actually have something to talk to you about that makes sense.
Yeah.
And in a process to work with a flipper, it says, here's why we should work together. And if they go, no, I got a brother-in-law. Okay, cool, next. Because I promise, unless you're in a really tiny town, you can find thousands and thousands of flippers.
No, they're out there. I'm gonna give the audience one more. For everybody, it's like, I think you guys are full of crap. I don't think you could take a listing in a day. For all those people that think that, you're wrong, plain and simple. And so here's where I would. So Bob's right. First place I'm gonna go, for sale by owners. We call them FSBOs. You guys have heard of FSDO and apostrophe S. For sale by owners. It's vernacular. For sale by owners. I am going to go door knock. I'm going to go physically knock. I'm not going to call that for sale by owner because every other idiot has already called them. I'm going to go knock on their house and I'm going to ask them what they need to get their house sold. I'm going to show up and I'm going to go, hey man, would it help you if I did an open house this weekend? Would it help you if I did a broker open house on Thursday? Brought all the brokers over here with their buyers and showed this to you. And once they agree to the open house, I now know they're willing to work with an agent. And now I'm going to door knock every conceivable house my little feet can march to within a distance. Say, hey, we've got a great open house this weekend over here, and I'm helping them do that. I'm going to show up and throw a parade, all short of that, in front of their house. That particular for sale by owner is going to go, yeah, that's how I want an agent to show up. That's what I want them to do. And now I can get that listing. I can do that again and again because everybody else that's out there just dialing for dollars. And are there great people with amazing scripts that can call for sale by owners? Yes, sure there are. You guys are great. I am not going to do it. I am going to be different, not going to be just show up as a different person. I'm just going to go knock on the door. I'm going to talk to them like a real person. I'm going to have the conversation. I'm going to get in it. I'm going to get in the relationship with that seller. What's the reason they chose to do it for sale by owner? We got to make so much money. It gets it right here. Great. If I can make you that much money working with me so that you have somebody working for you and a fiduciary, would you go ahead and list the house with me? Yeah, you've done all this other stuff for free. Why wouldn't I want to do that? Awesome. Sign here, press hard. There's 3 copies. That's how I'm going to march down that road.
You're dating yourself, Jake.
I am dating myself. I wondered if anybody was going to pick that one up, right? Rest of the carbon copy land.
Are you going to fax me the offer next?
Yep, exactly. You're going to hear that dial tone.
I'll date myself too, because I would call my database, because absolutely every time you go into your database, the ones you haven't called in forever, and you're like, I don't want to call them, inevitably you'll get 2 listings by the end of the day if you hit that. Guaranteed.
And I'm going to text. I'm not going to do cold calls. I don't do cold calls. Don't teach cold calling. I'm going to just text to FISBO. It's going to go something like this. Hey, Haley, my name's Bob. I'm a local agent. Had some questions on your house, but it looks like it's under contract already.
No,
They go, what? Yeah. No, it's still available. Are you maybe negotiating with a couple of buyers? No. Why did I do that, folks? Because it's totally different than what everybody else did. And I got them on the defensive. No, what the heck are you talking about? While I got them on the defensive, I threw the other one, maybe you're negotiating with a couple of buyers. Because 5 minutes down the conversation could be, well, I do have a couple of people that are interested. I just put that away from me. Now I just send the third text is, in all honesty, I don't have a buyer right this minute, but if in the next 10 days, I could get 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 people competing to buy your house and giving them the ability to offer you more money, would you be open to a conversation around that? I'm not paid a realtor. So I didn't ask you that question yet. I just said, would you be open to that conversation? Like, well, yeah, great. Hey, can I call you in 2 minutes? I need some information on your house. Call them up. Hey, Jake, it looks like 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 200 square feet. Blah, 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 blah. Does that sound about right? Yeah. Is there anybody else on title other than you? Yeah, me and my wife. Hey, great. You know what? Can we jump back? I'm going to need 4 or 5, 6 hours to do a little bit of research on the neighborhood and what's going on, and make sure that your house would be a viable candidate for that. And then we could jump on Zoom maybe 5 o'clock tonight, walk you through what that would look like and see if any of this makes sense for you guys. Now I just do a Zoom listing presentation because what I share with them, I'm going to make sense.
So here's what the audience needs to understand right here with all of this. And we're heading up against time too. These are not off the cuff responses. What Bob is talking about with his texts are scripts, and they're practiced. He knows how they're going to respond and which way to go once they respond. You practice them. So this is where in your daily activities to go take more listings, we don't practice on customers. We don't practice on clients. Practice on each other. Get better. Like, just get better. You want to truly set yourself apart. You want to be in that top 20%. You want to be on that top. You want to be on Top Agent Nation. You want to be part of that stuff. You get better. You have to practice the skills. So Scott, John, Haley, what do you got? What can you leave us with?
Here is the script that got me 27 listings in 1 month. You ready?
Fire.
Hey, Jake, Scott Lewis here. Hey, man, we got a listing right down the street under contract, and I've got some extra buyers right now that are interested on that street. Have you thought about selling your house?
We talked about selling it in the spring.
Awesome. When can we get together?
Let's wait till after the election.
Okay. Can I pencil you in for November the 28th?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right. November 28th. And how about 7 p.m.? Does that work for you?
7 p.m. works good, Scott.
I'll be there with my listing presentation and sign. We'll sell your house. I'll see you there.
Awesome. And Scott you haven't done that script it's been a minute since you've done it.
But that was so long time ago. So many times. It was so easy. And I just sat on Mojo. And when somebody picked up the phone, I'm like, and I love cold calls. I'm a freak. I'm not really. I'm not going to call the people I know. Screw that. I'm going to call people that don't know me. I'm like, that's fun, right? I'm going to get those people. And you take any street you live on. You can take any street in the United States. Hey, we got a listing right down the street in a contract. Do you have a listing? Yeah, we do. I'm a part of the National Association of Real Estate. We've got a listing right down the street for you, and it's under contract. You ready to sell? Because I got buyers. Do we have buyers? Absolutely. Easy, but you have to get in the right mindset. I love working with you guys. You guys rock.